Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books. Well, now we're talking about it. DC Studios will absolutely crush Marvel Studios. How do I know this? It's pretty obvious if you do the homework. Now look, you don't have to agree with me. I want to see comments below. I want to see people say, hey, Adam Post, what are you talking about? Who do you think you are? Marvel is going to destroy DC Studios. But tell me why. Tell me what you think. We get a lot of great comments below, a lot of good talking back and forth. I get ideas. You get ideas. Amazing contributors. I've had people from the film studios. I've had creators. I've had creative people and just great fans really give a lot of insight on a lot of the comments. I appreciate you doing that. So how is DC Studios changing? How is Marvel going to react? We know DC Studios right now is not run by Walter Hamada anymore. He was thrown out by David Zaslav and crew, the new management of Warner Brothers Discovery. Why was he thrown out? Well, he was pushing for Batgirl. He didn't like it that Batgirl was canceled. They didn't like what he was going to do. He was Marvelizing. Let's just be honest. If we're going to talk, let's talk straight. He was Marvelizing DC Comics. That's what he was doing. He was Marvelizing DC Studio, which was at the time DC Films, into something very close to what Marvel was going to turn out to be, which really was a lot of social justice, taking male characters and flipping them into female characters. Him and Ann Sarnoff. Now, Hamada was supposed to stay until 2023. His contract ran for, another year or so. But it was obvious he wasn't going to be able to execute on what they really want to do at Warner Bros. Discovery, which is to produce great films based on their brands and to really honor their brands. That's what Zaslav is all about. I have done more than 60 videos on Warner Bros. Discovery over the last 2 months or so. And you can see my background with it. You can see everything I've covered. And if you check out the playlist, and you don't have to read, you don't have to listen to all these videos, of course, just pick out anything that's interesting to you. You'll see where I'm coming from. You'll see how I've been covering where Zaslav is coming from, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, what they have done to change the company structurally, eliminating and completely restructuring and taking the power away from the woke diversity, equity, and inclusion office that used to completely control Warner Media and get them making projects and doing things and hiring people that weren't appropriate, that were not based on merit. That doesn't exist. But beyond that, you know about all the cancellations. You know they refused to put out Batgirl and took a $90 million loss for that. And they've canceled over $1 billion worth of content. They're completely focused on producing great content. Alternatively, over at Marvel, and we covered this recently, Marvel Studios is now rumored to be reshaping the X-Men for this new era. And they want Halle Berry back as Storm. Obviously, she's a little too old to play Storm. No offense. We all get old, but she's too old. But that said, they're going around trying to interview with survey people and to find out, how should we change our characters to fit modern culture? And they're still pushing it. They're still pushing all the woke stuff. Are they doing that at Warner Brothers Discovery? Well, no, they're not doing that. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson champions Black Adam, 90% audio score, 90% approval of audiences. Making fans happy is the only thing that matters, is what he said. And that is the absolute philosophy and culture of Warner Brothers Discovery. The only thing that they won't do that could potentially make a fan happy or something is violate the brand identity of all of their classic DC heroes. They will not do that. They will not turn Batman into Batgirl. They will not turn Superman into Supergirl and get rid of Superman. They will not. They're contracted to supposedly do J.J. Abrams' version of Superman as a black man, which is fine, but they also have Henry Cavill. I think it's impossible that they're going to have two Supermans at once and that they're going in that woke direction to say, oh, let's try a Superman of every different type of skin color. They're not interested in that. That's not on brand. It's not focused. It's pandering to try to get potentially a larger audience because maybe Black Panther was so big and now they currently don't have a Black Panther. So, hey, you could take his spot. They're not doing that. That was the old regime, not the Zaslav regime. That's an example of what they're doing. Another impressive thing about James Gunn, even in Suicide Squad, James Gunn proved he could use canon to pull old stories and old relevant content in the right context. And he can make some changes, and the little bits and changes of things are fine. But when they say that Gunn knows how to make continuity work, that's the Kevin Feige part that was good about Kevin Feige at the time. That's the part that's going to give you stories that mean something to the characters, and that those stories and characters then carry over into other stories. That's what a film universe is. A film universe is not something where you just have a bunch of different characters that sometimes know each other and cross over. You have to have interrelated stories. If a character dies, they're supposed to stay dead for at least for a while. These characters fight. They have common enemies and things like that that relate throughout the continuity and the stories through the other books. This is what we're talking about. And what James Gunn actually did with Harley Quinn in the first Suicide Squad, for example, was make her a superstar. I mean, that version of Harley Quinn worked. When they then split her off to Birds of Prey, which he was not involved with, it was terrible. Birds of Prey was a woke disaster. It was one of the first big ones that was just like, what the hell are you doing? And they also like defeminized Harley Quinn. They were talking about subverting the male gaze, which is that if she's beautiful and she's physically attractive, God forbid, men should want to go and buy movie tickets to see how beautiful she is and have fun going to see it with their girlfriends or whatever. They don't want that. None of that is going to become part of James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DC studios. Do you think Marvel is going to do that? Where's Marvel's heads at? What are they focused on? Well, aside from this X-Men nonsense about how they're basically going to ruin our X-Men. I say our because I'm a fan. You probably are too. Of the correct, real X-Men, not whatever nonsense they do. What are they going to do? Well, they do have Deadpool 3 coming. And Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is going to be in it. And Hugh Jackman's saying he's going to be an angrier version of Wolverine and he's going to be grumpy. Well, that is a playback to the original Wolverine from the comics. And it plays the character very well. I always loved Wolverine. I love Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine. I'm happy to see him come back. That's great. Whereas this is just a one-off and not really part of what Marvel's cinematic universe and their phases are all about. This kind of like fan service that they're going to do with this one film. That's not what they're about. That's what DC is all about. That's what DC is focusing on doing. Delivering for fans. When it came out that Aquaman 2 was basically focused on fighting climate change, David Zaslav, CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, said, no. This is getting changed. We're not doing that. When Walter Hamada refused to allow Superman at the end of Black Adam, and of course Dwayne Johnson fought against that for years, wound up going over his head, got the okay to get Henry Cavill in September, they were shooting, because of The Rock, they were shooting Superman, getting him into the end of Black Adam that was released in October. That's amazing. That's fan service. That's people focused on giving people what they want and creating quality. That's what we see as quality. We do not need to be impressed with woke versions of superheroes that try to supposedly expand an audience that never works. This is, of course, coming from Cosmic Book News. The Marvel content is not enough on Disney Plus to build subscribers, which is probably because of the lack of quality content. Great site, Cosmic Book News. Check him out. And this other recent article from Cosmic Book News, Disney Plus skews heavily male. Okay? There is such a thing, although the woke people hate it and they complain, there is such a thing as being able to determine the gender and the age and the consumer interests of your audience. This data is actually tracked. Particularly with Disney Plus, they know who their subscribers are. I mean, it's direct to consumer. So every subscriber's identity and their watch history, all those details are stored. They have it. So Disney Plus skews heavily male, explains Marvel, Star Wars failures at Disney Plus. Because here they are. This is not for men. She-Hulk was not made for men. She-Hulk was, we're going to have her act like some messed up version of Ally McBeal was a lawyer character, I think in the 1990s, some female character in her 30s that was like trying to figure out her life. Fine. But the men who are interested in Disney Plus and who are interested in Marvel are not going to watch that. Apparently. She-Hulk is canceled. I did a video about that. It's not coming back for a second season. She-Hulk was such a big failure that you now see Marvel specifically cutting back on series like Armor Wars, which is never coming out. That got canceled. Supposedly it's going to be a movie now. It's not. Maybe they do it as a standalone special presentation. Their one-shot film format. Probably not. But maybe, whatever. Who knows? But the point is, that's how badly She-Hulk did. They can't really look at launching as many new ongoing Disney Plus series or doing second seasons of Disney Plus series because they've burned their brand so badly. I've had people commenting on my other variety of videos about Marvel and Black Panther, whatever else I'm doing, that they're never going to Marvel again. They're sick of Marvel. She-Hulk killed it for them. A lot of people say She-Hulk killed it for them because it was so poorly done and it was so disrespectful of the fans that has made it possible for them to do shows like this. So the bottom line is this. The ratings for the shows have been in the gutter, and various professional analysts and Wall Street executives have doubted both brands' ability to bring in Disney Plus subscribers. Okay? I may do another video about this in more detail. However, that's what you're getting from Marvel. That's what you're getting from DC. You've got James Gunn, who is a bit of a strange guy, no question about it, but he's incredibly creative. He's a very hard worker. He got from doing low-budget trauma films to doing major films, and you don't get that unless you deliver and you do the work and you have talent. I mean, that's it. So he's, yes, in charge at DC Studios, but he's not Kevin Feige. You know, the Kevin Feige at DC Studios is not one man. It is Gunn plus his producing partner Safran. Those two guys are in charge of DC Studios, plus Mike DeLuca and Pam Abity, plus upper management. So it's not like it's green light authority going to one guy who can just kind of do whatever he wants with the universe. That's not happening, and they don't need that to happen. That's what Zaslav meant when he said that he needed a Kevin Feige, not the person. He needed a functioning department that would do for Marvel Studios that would do for DC Studios what was done for Marvel Studios. That's all he wants. And if that little creative engine piece that Gunn is supposed to be doing doesn't work well, he will get plucked out of the company in a heartbeat. And he'll be fine. He can go and produce and make a fortune doing his other projects. He's not going to work there if he's not comfortable in the environment either. He has a lot of other options he could have. But the whole point is it won't be losing their department, their Kevin Feige department. It will be just replacing one element in the whole mix. So it's just one tool in the toolbox. That's the kind of management you get from Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav and his team. They know very, very well how to produce, how to keep everything on track, how to have accountability. On the other hand, you've got Kevin Feige, doesn't have a hope in the world at this point. He's a very, very wealthy man. He does whatever the heck he wants to do, and good for him that he can do that. But because of the early momentum of the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it was being done properly, Kevin Feige got way too much freedom, way too much control, and now has been allowed to completely poison the Marvel Universe. Phase 4 hasn't gone well. Phase 5 is going to go worse. Phase 6 is going to be worse than that if they even are able to do Phase 6. If they don't have fans that love the stories and love the content, it can't continue. And everyone knows the momentum has been slowing for Marvel. DC is also in a great position because now that they're starting to gain some steam, everything they do is going to gain momentum over time, unless David Zaslav was to let something like Batgirl come out, and that would destroy the brand for a year or two. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's got a great financial and creative team behind him. So let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. I will make one other comment. If you notice, Deadpool 3 and Wolverine were both Fox properties, right? Deadpool and Wolverine are Fox properties. Spider-Man, the other great character from Marvel, is a Sony property. So the best stuff at Marvel, the actual best stuff at Marvel, was not even at Marvel. Sure, they made a lot of money with the Avengers. And when Kevin Feige had enough freedom, he snuck in his Brie Larson Captain Marvel character, which all of the fans hated. What a disaster. Now let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up when you like it, and I will see you again soon with another video. And if I do not see you, I will miss you.